everyone. My name is Julie Payette. I am the Governor General of Canada. Today is the 17th of December, 2020. We are still in the middle of the pandemic and we are still battling this terrible virus. Numbers are augmenting, but fortunately, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We now have vaccines, and in a few months from now, we should be out of this pandemic, finally. But in the meantime, we have to remain patient, vigilant, and distanced. But this is Christmas, and this is a time to rejoice, a time to lend a hand, a time to share with other people. This year will be different, but we can still share a good meal through Zoom or through digital, and we can share beautiful music. But today, we are so blessed to have a very, very special guest. This gentleman, Damien Robitaille, has been recording a piece of music of some sort every single day since the pandemic started last March. Damien Robitaille is originally from La Fontaine, Ontario, and he's going to tell us all about that. He is born to an Anglophone mother and a Francophone father. So just like my son, he would say that he is a chemical reaction of two different ingredients that make something sparkling and extraordinary with much energy. He attended Wilfrid Laurier University in Waterloo. He is a classical pianist, a orchestre, he can play almost anything from what I can tell. And he is here today to speak about songs, music, lyrics, and other things. Bonjour, bienvenue. Welcome, Damien Robitaille. Bonjour.
Hello, Your Excellency. Thank you for having me. I'm very honored.
Well, I was watching you. I've been following you on Facebook. And oh, by the way, Damien, we have, we're going to call each other Damien and Julie because we know each other from before. But there are people watching us on Facebook and on YouTube. We invite you to ask questions to Damien if you would like to. But I've been following you on Facebook, and I'd like to show the viewers what kind of little clips of song that you've been doing and producing every single day since the beginning of the pandemic.
All right.
Mr. Chris, can you roll that first clip?
Salut, monsieur astronaute, flottant dans les cieux. J'espère que ce n'était pas triste quand tu as dit adieu. Salut, monsieur astronaute, flottant dans les cieux. Durant l'ascension, tu es disparu. Je suppose que tu existes, mais je ne t'ai jamais vu.
So you're talking about Monsieur Astronaute. And I'm like, well, I can't let that pass. But then I'm listening to the lyrics and you're saying, I've never seen you. You're floating somewhere in the sky and you've disappeared. And I'm like, okay, that's the guy. It must have to be, right?
Yeah, sorry, I should have called it Mrs. Astronaut.
Not if he disappears. Not if he disappears.
Yeah, it's a song I wrote. It's one of the first songs I ever wrote. It was in English at first. The lyrics were funny. Like it became a sad, kind of a sad song, like a song about grief, because my father passed away back in 1993, 1994. So I just imagine him as like this astronaut floating in space and just ask him to look over us. But at first it was a kind of a funny song in English. It was like, hello, Mr. Astronaut up there in the sky. Hope it wasn't hard for you when you said goodbye. And then the next verse was, hello, Mr. Astronaut. How does it feel? I'd like to try one of your dehydrated meals.
It's actually not bad. It's not bad at all. It's just, if you don't put water though, it's terrible. So you gotta rehydrate it. Yeah.
Okay, so you do eat dehydrated meals. Okay, good.
No, we eat dehydrated food, which is rehydrated in space.
Okay, yes, of course.
If you don't rehydrate it, especially I tell you, we have this package with strawberries in it. And when you touch it, when it's not rehydrated, it just crunches and it really doesn't taste as good. It's very, very sugary as well because there's no water. But then we add water and then we let it sit there for a little bit and then it's okay.
Okay, I'll put that in my next song.
There you go. Damien, tell us. I was watching also an interview you did with yourself on. We see that on the YouTube where you're interviewing yourself. It's a very nice concept. And the first question you ask yourself is, Damien, please explain to me in one word, who are you?
So I have to answer this now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm used to myself asking the question. Who am I in one word?
Well, that was the question I heard, but I think more words. We will allow you more words.
Okay, who am I? Well, I'm a singer-songwriter. Just I like to call myself an entertainer. Let's say nowadays more of an entertainer. And I've been touring. In French Canada, in France, well, the French Europe as well for the past 15 years. Yeah, and it's been going well. And before that, yeah, like you said, I grew up in La Fontaine, Ontario, well, called LA. But I was born in Brantford, the same city as Wayne Gretzky and Alexander Graham Bell. So like, hey, the great ones all come from Brantford, you could say.
So you grew up in La Fontaine on the Georgian Bay. It's an extraordinary part of the country. So tell us what it is for you to grow up in a small bastion of French speaking. I think you went to French speaking school when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And later, why you decided to sing in French and not in English, which you'd think, you'd reach more people in North America.
Yeah. That's probably the question I get asked the most. Like, why are you singing in French? Like, what? Like, people don't understand. But yeah, so La Fontaine, the small French village surrounded by this ocean of anglophones. So like since the 19th century, there were French settlers there. My ancestors were there, and we have our school, our church in French. It's still alive over there. But growing up there, it was like being in a bubble. I didn't know anything about Quebec French or the other francophone communities outside. So you feel unique because you're just like I'd go to my mom's family parties in Kitchener, and then we'd be the only family that would speak French, and it'd be like, well, why? Like it's very odd. But as I grew,
go ahead.
Well, as I grew up, as a teenager, you kind of you lose your pride in your culture, eh? Like, but around 18 years old, I discovered like, no, I don't want to lose my French language. I don't want to lose the language that my father spoke, that my grandfather spoke, all the Robitaille's. So I was like, I got to make music that will keep this culture alive in my little village. So that's why I started doing songs in French, and eventually it started working, and I jumped into the French music circuit, and it's it hasn't stopped since then.
But you also mentioned in an interview that it is a beauty, this diversity. You are representative very much of that duality, that linguistic duality, and the multiculturalism that we have in this country, and it's our richness. It makes us unique. It makes you unique. And you were saying, well, as an entertainer, as you mentioned, being unique is a good thing. So you can be noticed and listened to and perform.
Exactly. That's what I was like, man, everyone's singing in English. Everyone wants to sing in English. Like, why not? Like that, what makes me unique is the fact that I'm this francophone from this little from Ontario, this little village hidden away. So I have this different accent when I'm speaking or singing in French, and I don't know, it just makes it stick out. But lately, I've got to say, since I started this project you were talking about, the recording a song a day, I've started to embrace once again my Anglophone side, which I've kind of pushed aside for the past 15 years. but now I'm trying, accepting the singing English, and it's opening up these new horizons for me all over the world.
And it is, again, it is a richness, and you're very privileged to grow up with those two. And my son is very similar. His dad is Anglophone, mom Francophone, but living in a multicultural and multilinguistic world, we take advantage of that. Damien, I have a question for you.
Oh, you do?
Yes, people are listening to us. It is a question from Anne Arksey. She's from Midhurst,
Yes.
Ontario, and she's saying music appeals to the soul much more than just mere words. Damien, can you tell me about who and what influenced you to become a singer-songwriter, and what advice you would give to young upcoming songwriters?
Good question. Midhurst is near where I grew up, actually. Yeah, I played with music with some guys from Midhurst back in the day, but
They know you.
no, hopefully. What influenced me? My father was a singer too. Like, well, not a professional singer. He was a school teacher, but he had his guitar and he'd sing all the time. And then that inspired me to. When he passed away in 94, I took his guitar, and that inspired me to start to play. Just to follow in his footsteps. And also, I had some good music teachers. In high school, I had a great music teacher, Neil Lefebvre. He really encouraged songwriting and the creative side and the recording. And he actually pushed me to sing in French, encouraged me to sing in French. So that, yeah, and then just and also like influenced by just great musicians. I was a big fan of the Beatles and Neil Young and all these. Yeah. So
what advice would you have for a young upcoming person to should they take up music? It's a tough profession.
Oh yeah,
a professional musician.
Well, it's tough because there's no path to follow. Everyone's got to follow their own path, and that's what I think you got. Like we were talking before, like you got to find what makes you unique, and you got to just go head first in that direction. Don't try to be like anyone else. If you're unique, you'll stick out, and just try to be yourself. That's the best you can be, and you got to be obsessed. I'm obsessed. Like I'm just singing all day long, writing all day long. You just think about that all the time, and you get a little success. You don't stop there. You keep pushing, and sometimes the doors will close. Sometimes you'll get the number of times I've been refused, like into schools or in contests. Like I wouldn't win. Like you don't get discouraged. Just keep going. Just let passion guide you.
Passion. That's exactly what it is. And let's get back to the fact that at the beginning of the pandemic, you decided that you would record a clip every single day for other people and post it with for free on Facebook. Why?
Well, I was touring. Like I was in France in March when the pandemic started. I had this long tour of books. It had been a while, and I was looking forward to it. But then it got cut short. I had to fly back home, and all of a sudden my calendar was empty. I didn't know what to do. Like how am I going to survive? I don't know what to do. Like, so I said, what do you know? You know how to sing, so just sing. And so I just started one song, and the next day I did another one. It just became this routine, and then the fans online got hooked, and then just like it had a snowball effect. And then,
well, it took a while. And if you have your piano right next to you, the first song of the first notes of Pump Up the Jam. Can you do that on the piano? Just thump, 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 thump.
You want that? So something like that. I don't have the drum, but
excellent. That's exactly the introduction I needed to speak to the people who are listening to us. If you don't know, Damien Robitaille recorded a clip of Pump Up the Jam from Technotronics, and the clip just went viral on the network and was viewed more than 10 million times. So now you're a very famous person. And oh, by the way, thank you for accepting to come and talk to us. but you also are so versatile. And I'd like to show an example of that. I'd like to show an example of where you are filming yourself in a mosaic way. And the example is actually very timely. It's called Miss Christmas. Let's see that.
Miss Christmas, Miss Christmas, I wouldn't miss Christmas. No, no, no. Miss Christmas, like a wise man wandering around. I've been drifting from town to town. Oh, this land, love to roam. But for Christmas, there's no place like home. Through the snow, I've been trying to get back, but this blizzard's trying to blow me off track. I'll get through, don't be blue. I'm gonna spend the holidays with you. I wouldn't miss Christmas.
Well, oh,
Damien, I was so impressed. You are at the same time, you know, the guitarist, the percussionist, you're the pianist, you're the singer, you're the drummer. So you inspired me. So here I took my guitar and I thought, well, you know, I'm gonna miss Christmas. And then I found my percussion, and then I found my block. This for fondue. Oh, this sounds better. But then I have to perfect this way you look at the camera, because you have to understand Damien Robitaille does that alone at home in his living room, I believe,
my dining room.
your dining room, and you film yourself and you put out the clip. By the way, can you show us a little bit of that setup? Are you able to move? Or,
It's a big mess. So right here, I just ripped off at the beginning of the pandemic. I just ripped off the curtains from my window over here. So now on my other window, I had to put a blanket. So these are just regular window curtains. See, look at, whoop, and I nailed them to the wall. So then and turn around, look at the mess here. So got a bunch of stuff. There's a patio door, and the kitchen is over here. And and back here backstage, there's a friend backstage.
Hello.
There's Suki, the famous dog. Now, yeah, she's in the Pump Up the Jam video. But
well, I think that the little thing that may have triggered so many views at first was the fact that the Suki, your dog, came in while you were recording this clip and was kind of saying, well, what are you doing? Can you come and play with me outside or something?
oh yeah, it's crazy. Now everyone just asks me, like, where's the dog? All the videos, but I can't recreate. It's a moment that was so special. Like, I can't recreate the dog coming out like that, but I just have to get bacon and rub the bacon all over my instruments so that she comes every time. But it's, you know.
So Pump Up the Jam then gets you out there and gives you a followership that you didn't have. So what's in store for you for the future? What how do you see? I mean, we're still very much suffering in this pandemic, and the impact on performing artists have been tremendous. How do you see the future?
Honestly, I don't even know what I'm doing on Christmas Day. I guess I programmed myself just to be like one day at a time. Okay, what's going on? Boom, boom. You know, like that's why I'm just singing. Like I got my head down, looking at the keyboard. And nowadays it's like on the phone with responding to all these messages online. But yeah, I don't know what, like with this newfound notoriety, this newfound kind of internet fame, it might bring me elsewhere. I might become this one-man band cover singer, you know, but I'll go wherever the wind blows me. Yeah.
Well, you make us proud. And people are listening and are wondering. We have here Brian Laferté is listening on Facebook. That's what my little red phone tells me. And it's interesting because I was about to ask you a similar question. He's asking you, Damien, when composing a song, what comes first, the lyrics or the melody? And maybe you can tell us that by showing us how, like one of your most famous song, Mot de Passe, password.
That was good.
Perhaps how
I
you
had that in
work
my
this
mind
out.
as well. So the ideal set. Some songs are born with the lyrics first, or but some with the melody first. I like when both are born together. So often I think of a phrase or a catch line or a title. A title will often spark a song. So in this case, let's say the mot de passe, which means the password in French. So I was thinking, what's just have the line, quel est le mot de passe pour passer la nuit avec toi? I like play on words. Mot de passe, passer la nuit avec toi. So what is the password to pass?
It doesn't work in English as well, but it's basically spend night with someone.
Yeah, spend a good time with someone. Spend a nice evening.
Pass the time with someone.
Yeah. What's the mot de passe to pass the time with you? We'll say it like that. So yeah, that just rolls in my head. Or sometimes I'll be just walking down the street, and I just repeat that, and I get this melody going. So that's one way. But also, I like just to play on the piano and a new riff will come along. So for mot de passe, I was listening to a lot of reggae and playing a lot of ragtime music. So I invented this new style called reggae. but it's like so I had this little riff, and I was like, this is the best riff ever, and then it becomes reggae. And goes, quel est le mot de passe pour passer la nuit avec toi? Quel est le mot de passe pour passer la nuit avec toi? Quel est le mot de passe? So that's the chorus. That's the easy part. But then after that, you got to develop the story and the verses, and then that's the hard part.
Yes, and that explains the answer for Monsieur Laferté. But yes, the words are important as well. I mean, they give the meaning, the sense to the music. However, music is a real discipline. I know you studied music formally, and interestingly, my son is a musician, and I asked him just before we had this conversation to give me the chords you were playing for Miss Christmas, so that I could try to replicate them on the ukulele, and it's really complicated. Yeah, we're in complicated, augmented or diminished sharp chords.
That song in particular, particularly that song is it's got a lot of chords.
So you told me D, F major, D, A seventh.
And I got some diminished 7 chords. Yeah, I don't.
So Damien, how important is this background, this discipline training that one has to do in order to be able to compose?
Yeah, that brings us back to the first question that the lady asked for. They're from Midhurst, a good suggestions for young musicians. But I think it's good to have a good education, be surrounded by good teachers, good mentors. But yeah, I was very lucky at a young age to have great music teachers. I remember there was one, Bill Burke. I was allowed to leave my class when I was maybe 10 years old. Every Tuesday I was allowed to go for an hour with Mr. Burke, and he'd teach me all these blues chords. No, it was important to teach me the classical side. That's great for discipline, like you were saying, and learning the scales. But then he also showed me the blues chords, and that's not many people.
Play a blues chord for us.
Well, I mean, just how to read chords like guitar, like G, A, C, G, D, like that. Yeah, I'm not. I'm no blues man, but I mean, there's a good once you have those simple chords as a basis. And he also taught me to play Beatles music and stuff at a young age. So that amazing for me to push me into the pop music side.
But the formal part, I guess, gives you then something to build on, and then you can go in any direction you decide. This is just a foundation. The formal training. Yes, you need to understand how to write music in order to write music. Correct?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, no, I was lucky to have a great balance between the classical side and this free side of where I could teach myself. I was taught piano, but I taught myself guitar and all. So it was a great balance. Yeah.
So you are performing right now at your home, and you now have a large followership. But this is not a live audience. You have your dog and a telephone to record. Do you think that we will continue only in the virtual mode? Are you looking forward to perform live again? What is the difference?
Well, the difference is, well, there's something I've gotten used to being at home. You know, like I get to do all my concerts in my moccasins. You know.
You don't need to see everything.
Pardon me?
I said we don't need to see everything. Yeah, you cadre.
Yeah. Okay.
Picture, and the rest is whatever you wish.
Yeah, so that's great. And also, like when you're home, like you're reaching like probably more people than can go in a concert hall. But I have to admit, I miss the adrenaline, the rush, the stage, not the stage fright, but just that little thrill of going up on stage and hearing the applause, the screams, and just being close to people. There's nothing compared to that.
So this time where we're more isolated and we need to continue for a little while more, has this increased your creativity? Are you writing more? Are you writing songs?
Well, actually, I only wrote one song throughout the whole pandemic. It was a song for all the school children of in Quebec or in French Canada. Yeah, called Il Me Semble, and it was a song kind of based on what we're living. It's like so.
I think we might have this one. Do we have Il Me Semble?
You have it now. Well, the song.
Merci d'avoir trouvé, il me semble. D'ailleurs, in Hindi, sorry, I tend to do that. I tend to just switch language. In the lyrics, you say, il me semble qu'il est temps qu'on se rassemble en ces temps de pluie. So I think it should be a good time for us to get together in this time of rain, but actually it's in this time of pandemic.
Yeah,
we should rewrite this song. Thank you very much for letting us see this. Damien, this is already the conclusion. Yes.
Oh,
but as I mentioned, you do all of us proud. You carry very much traditions. And actually, speaking of tradition, I had a question for you. Someone would like to know your favorite holiday tradition. It's Dylan Attack from Facebook.
My favorite holiday tradition. Well, there's one that we have in our family that's every year since maybe '93. My mom hosts this Christmas caroling party. That's on December 23rd every year, except for it won't happen this year. But all tons of friends come over, about 60 people. We just sing Christmas carols.
I love that. I love that too. That is a great tradition. But again, this is the end. This is our last Gigi conversation for the year 2020. It's been a trying year, but it's been also a year where we've discovered about ourselves that we can be compassionate, we can lend a hand, and we can work together to defeat an invisible enemy. Monsieur Damien Robitaille, thank you so much for accepting to talk to us today and to close the year with us. To everybody watching, happy Christmas. Find positive in these times, and take good care of yourself. And Happy New Year. We'll see you in the other side in 2021. Damien, if you wouldn't mind giving us a parting song from your Christmas.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Thank you again.
Bientôt ce sera Noël. La neige tombe sur le village et laisse un tapis blanc sur son passage. Un signe du ciel. Bientôt ce sera Noël. Les maisons scintillent dans la nuit, décorées de petites lumières qui brillent comme des chandelles. Bientôt ce sera Noël.
Merci.
Merci. Thank you.
Thank you.